Did you know that 55% of product lifecycle management software implementations fail to achieve their objectives? Do you know why? It is because organizations underestimated the importance of effective organizational change management, which led to resistance to change and low adoption of the PLM implementation. My name is Obi Iradion, and in this video, I will show you how to do the best change management for PLM implementation to help increase your success. Today's change management methodology is the same framework that I used at organizations like Apple, Microsoft, Yale University, and many other organizations to drive real adoption, reduce resistance, and increase change successes. And if you need help or have questions, contact me. Now, here are the key outcomes for you today. So you can take notes or you can pause this video from time to time to take screenshots. Number one is to equip you with the latest change management methodology for PLM implementation. Two, to provide and empower you with actionable insights and best change management practices that increase my own successes. And three, to prepare you with how-to knowledge for delivering organizational change management within your organization. Here is a portfolio of best change management deliverables that you will want to deliver when rolling out PLM within any organization. Now, I will go into details shortly on each and every single one of these, but at a high level, this portfolio involves conducting change assessments, delivering communications, developing and implementing change strategies and plans, engaging with leaders, coaching and training impacted users, and also tracking change successes. To increase your successes, you will want to apply this four-phase change management approach. Start by assessing readiness for the PLM rollout. Then move on to design, where you build the change strategy, plans, and assets. And then the third phase is where we implement the change deliverables and track adoption. Finally, we sustain and reinforce change by embedding new behaviors into day-to-day operations. So for the next 15 to 20 minutes, we are actually going to be spending time on each and every single one of these phases to ensure that we can better equip and empower you. Let us quickly go over the change deliverable for phase one. For phase one, you want to conduct a detailed readiness assessment that looks at culture, capacity, leadership, and alignment to spot resistance and risk before the slow adoption. You want to think about your change readiness assessments as your early diagnostic. So imagine you take your car to the mechanic shop. The mechanic is not just going to start fixing anything. They first have to do a diagnosis to identify what the issue is. That is the diagnostic. It is a similar diagnostic that you will be doing to identify any potential roadblocks. The first readiness assessment for you to do is to do a current state and culture assessment. This is where you evaluate the current culture within each impacted organization, leadership alignment, and also change maturity. You want to identify who has the biggest influence. In addition, you also want to speak to targeted individuals within the department to identify their preferences for communication, their preferences for training, their preferences for engagement. Every department will have their own preferences for change management. So you want to ensure that you understand their preferences before delivering change management to them. How do you do your current state and cultural assessment? You can use surveys, you can do focus groups, and you can have one-on-one interviews. Basically, you want to answer this key question. Is our culture ready to support a data-driven, collaborative PLM environment? You want to conduct your change impact assessments. This involves identifying what is changing for each group, role, and department. You want to map processes and systems affected by the PLM implementation, as well as who is impacted, how are they impacted, and the severity of impact. So to do this, you want to engage with functional leads, with IT and other project practitioners to gather this information. When do you do this? It's best to do it during or after process flow design workshops. You want to ensure that you are capturing all levels of impact and severity, which will help you prioritize your change management deliverables for highly affected areas. When I do organizational change management consulting for organizations, I have identified that one of my successes is being able to get executives on board. And one way to present impact to senior executives is using a one slider like I have on my screen. This lets executives know in one glance which personas will be impacted the most, as well as how many people are part of that persona. The number of people you are looking at here on my screen is just a rough estimate of a mid-size organization. Your organization might be smaller, your organization might be 10 times bigger. It's really irrelevant. What is relevant here is when you put this together, it is best to list out the personas, impacted individuals, which is headcount, and then the range of impact. You also want to identify resistance, basically identify risk and barriers that may derail the PLM implementation. You have to proactively identify barriers and enablers so mitigation plans can be developed early. You also want to map stakeholders and potential change champions. For a PLM rollout, typical stakeholders and impacted groups normally involve engineering and R&D, manufacturing, supply chain, quality assurance, procurement, IT, operations, product management, finance, regulatory and compliance. You want to ensure that you develop a stakeholder map similar to what I have on my screen that shows who has the biggest influence and, most importantly, who has the biggest interest level. Basically, they are receptive to the change. And you want to plot that against their ability to impact your program. So basically, what you like to see here is this: high interest for interest level to match high ability to influence and high ability to impact. Somebody that is very receptive and also has a high ability to influence other people, and they also have a high ability to impact your program, those people are considered critical champions for your program. You also want to conduct enablement needs assessments. Enablement needs is basically identifying what each persona, engineering, for example, designer, quality leads, managers, what they need to understand and do differently, in addition to gathering the preferred channels that they prefer to have, or that they prefer to be communicated with, that they prefer to be trained, and they prefer to be briefed. So use a template similar to what I have here on my screen. In addition, you want to send out a readiness survey. At the end of this session, I will show you how to download a readiness survey for free, and you can start using that right away. You want to conduct surveys to assess awareness, understanding, desire, and confidence. And you want to use the results to track change readiness trends throughout the product lifecycle management program implementation. So the 6 key deliverables that are part of phase 1, which is readiness assessment, provide you with foundation for your change strategy and engagement plans, which you are going to be putting together during the next phase, which is phase 2. Once readiness is understood, the next step is to design and build your change management strategies, plans, as well as assets. Let us start with the 8 strategies on my screen, which you want to ensure that you design, all the way from communication and training to resistance management. Here's an example of a communication strategy: a hybrid communication approach that involves a top-down and bottom-up component. For the top-down, we will engage with leaders and provide them with communication for them to cascade to members of their organization. For the bottom-up, we will engage with champions and key experts within the impacted departments and ask them to cascade up communications to members of their teams. Using this hybrid top-down and bottom-up strategy will help you achieve great successes with your communications and engagement. Next, after defining your strategies, which should be driven based on findings from your readiness assessments, the next step is to translate them into step-by-step actionable change management plans. Each of these plans, from communication and training to resistance management and adoption tracking, basically operationalizes the specific parts of your overall strategy. They ensure together that the PLM implementation is not just planned, but executed in a structured, measurable way. The goal is consistency, accountability, and sustained adoption across the organization. You also want to develop and socialize a holistic change roadmap, which is similar to what I have here on my screen. The change roadmap outlines how the communications and engagements and other activities will be sequenced all the way through to go live and post go live. This holistic roadmap is something that I have found leadership really love. When they are able to see everything in one slider or in one page, they really find a lot of value in that. A change roadmap ensures that communication, training, and engagement happen at the right time, not all at once. You also want to develop the communication assets. So draft the communication invite for kickoff sessions, onboarding and training, draft the emails for awareness communications, countdown communications. Go live is right around the corner types of communications, as well as go live and post go live communications. You also want to leverage drafting newsletters to maintain momentum and share success stories. Also, add in tips and tricks content like short videos or quick use guides. These really help users see value in PLM faster. Okay. Now, the next thing is to develop a change enablement website. You could use SharePoint to do that, or you could use any content management platform that your organization uses. This enablement website will be the one-stop hub for everything related to education, learning, videos, short videos, long videos, guides, quick reference materials, all of these different resources that people might be interested in to help them learn more about the PLM that is being implemented. All of these resources should be in this centralized location. You also want to create materials for your champions. So that includes kickoff decks, champion toolkits, as well as other strategic guides to help your champions be effective as PLM champions. In addition, you should create leadership engagement and support materials to help leaders understand and champion the rollout. You want to develop resources like leadership playbooks that include talking points for leaders to be able to use to communicate the PLM implementation with members of their organization. You also want to create a leader action roadmap that allows leaders to very quickly clarify what is expected before, during, and after go live. Now, before we move on to phase three's PLM change management deliverables, here is a quick recap of phase two. During phase two is when we developed the comprehensive change management strategies and plans that translate strategy into action. We covered communication, training, stakeholder engagement, resistance management, adoption tracking, and more. These comprehensive plans ensure alignment, accountability, and consistency as we prepare the organization for a successful PLM rollout. Now, before we go on, if you are into organizational change management as much as I am, please go ahead and give this video a like or subscribe to our channel that involves our growing community of people who love organizational change management just as much as you do. With your plans and tools ready to go, it is time to implement and manage adoption, which is phase three. In this phase, you will want to focus on execution and helping people to accept, embrace, and become proficient in using the new PLM. Now, part of this implementation phase involves delivering your targeted communications through email, town halls, newsletters, videos, and also the enablement website. Keep messages transparent and consistent. And on my screen, I am showing you a best-in-class communication plan that you can leverage that includes a column for the communication audience, the type of communication, the frequency of how often the communication will be sent, the priority, the channel, who should deliver, and what the objectives of the communications are. Next, you want to activate your change champions as well as leaders. So for doing this, What I normally do to increase my change successes is I conduct a kickoff session. And during the kickoff session, I walk the champions through what it means to be a champion for a PLM implementation, their roles and responsibilities, how we plan to support them. I also show them roadmaps of what they should expect over the next 6 weeks, over the next 12 weeks, to really keep them informed. And the kickoff, though, is not the one time and be done situation. You want to ensure you continue to engage your champions throughout the implementation. And you can do that via hands-on training for champions, ongoing check-ins, as well as weekly or every other week, 30 minutes conversations with the champions really goes a long way. I also recommend that you create a channel using Slack or Teams or Zoom, where you can actually communicate with your champions in real time. You also want to deliver hands-on training, which should be interactive sessions that are persona-based, to ensure that people can ask questions and people can follow along. You can do virtual sessions, in-person sessions, train the trainer sessions. The sessions that you deliver will be based on the preferences that you gathered during phase one. Do you remember when I said, when doing the current state and culture assessments, that you remember what I said back then? I said, you want to ensure that you are capturing preferences. Different departments have preferences for how they would like to receive communication, how they would like to receive training, how they would like to receive briefings and engagement. So if, for example, the engineering department, stakeholders within that department have told you they prefer virtual training sessions, where you don't want to provide them with in-person sessions, or you don't want to invite them to in-person sessions, right? You want to ensure that the training and briefing and engagement sessions that you are delivering is in alignment with the preferences for each impacted group. Something else to keep in mind is leadership. Leaders play a critical role, and we will discuss this shortly, but they play a critical role, and so they often need coaching. And here is how you do it. You send an outreach email, which is pretty much what you are looking at here on my screen. You can take a screenshot and you can go to Copilot or ChatGPT and say, extract this image to text, and it will do it for you. And you just copy this text, enter that into Outlook, make some few tweaks, and you can leverage this content. Basically, each executive, you want to send them this a similar outreach email that lets them know you would like to engage with their EA, executive assistant, to schedule a 45 minutes white glove briefing and engagement session with them. And that during the white glove session, you will go over key talking points. You will walk them through how the new PLM will help increase their productivity as a leader. You will also explore leadership use cases. Look at the bottom of this executive outreach email on my screen. You see how it says, we will coordinate with your executive assistant to confirm a time that works best for your schedule. Super, super important for you to include that on your communication to the leader, because they most likely will ignore your email, which is fine, but they have been notified. And so your next step is to go talk to their executive assistant to say, we want to schedule a white glove with this leader. Let us quickly talk about how critical mid-level and senior level leaders are. They act as communicators during a time of change. They are responsible, or we look to them to share the vision and explain why the PLM change really matters. We need leaders to be advocates. We need them to show visible support through their actions and deeds. We also need them to act as liaisons to help translate strategy into what it means for day-to-day job for their direct reports and employees. Leaders also serve as coaches. They guide their organizations through the learning curve. And here is another critical role they play: resistance managers. They help us identify and address concerns early before they spread. Here is what is important. When leaders actively step into these roles, adoption accelerates and resistance decreases. Leaders, however, they often say they don't get the right level of change support that they felt they really needed, which is why I am advising you to go coach and help your leaders connect the dots on how the PLM will help them personally. When you are meeting with a leader, you want to use this day in the life flow to help them make the change real, to help them connect the dots. Before meeting with the leader, you want to gather information about what they do on a regular basis. 8 a.m., what do they do? 9:30 a.m., what do they do? 11 a.m., what do they do? And so on and so forth. Gather all of that information and then find out how will the new PLM help increase this leader's productivity. Our use case is Rob. Rob leads the sales department. We are meeting with Rob today to walk Rob through how the PLM will help his productivity on a day-by-day basis. We start out by saying, hey, Rob, around 8 a.m., we understand this is what you normally do, and here is how the PLM will support you. Around 9:30 a.m., here's how the PLM will support you. Around 11 a.m., here is what you normally do, and here is how the PLM will support you. So you basically want to walk the leader through this flow. What you shouldn't do is show the leader the entire flow. Literally, what you are looking at here on my screen is not what the leader should see when you present this slide. Instead, you want to present this slide. And you want to start out by letting the leader know what this slide is all about. Just spend 60 seconds or 30 seconds and then say, starting from 8 a.m., we understand this is what you normally do, and here is how the new PLM will help you. If the leader has any questions, they can ask. If not, you go on to the next step. You say, we also understand that around 9:30, here is what you normally do. You analyze sales pipelines, pipeline data to identify stored deals. You review sales conversion rate, and here is how the new PLM will help support you. At 11 a.m., we understand you normally prepare meetings. You prepare for leadership meetings. Here is how the PLM can help. So you kind of see where I'm going with this, right? You want to use a build slide approach to walk the leader. You basically hold the leader by the hand and walk them through this day in the life. And then you click and the 1 p.m. activities load, and then you talk about those, and then you say 3 p.m. Here's what we understand you normally do. Here's how PLM will help. And then 5 p.m. Here's what you normally do, and here's how the PLM will help. This is how you are able to help the leader connect how PLM really makes a difference in their day-to-day workflow. Now, let's talk about managing resistance, both proactively and also reactively. During adoption, you will always have people reacting differently to the change. So you want to ensure that when putting together your resistance management plan, that you include people's names, their title, their resistance level, the resistance management task is a critical column that you want to include in your template. This basically includes what activities will be done to mitigate the resistance for each of these individuals. Now, it goes without saying, this resistance mitigation template should be confidential. It's not something you share with everybody. You only share it with people that are on a need-to-know basis. In addition, as you move into implementation, you want to track KPIs and adoption for the PLM rollout. The PLM admins within your organization should give you access so you can access the reporting dashboards. Within the PLM, you can see who is using or which groups are using the PLM the most. You can see the trend, the upward trend on how people are using it by day, by week, or by month. You can also see who is logging in, how often they are using it, how long they stay using it. All of these are key pieces of information you want to track. You also want to track feedback from your champions and feedback from impacted users. So before we move on to phase 4, let us do a quick recap of phase 3. In this phase, the focus is all about execution and engagement. So we rolled out our communication plan to drive awareness and readiness. We launched and managed our change champion network to keep momentum strong on the ground for the PLM implementation. We delivered hands-on training and enablement sessions to help people know how to use the new PLM. We provided white glove leadership support, helping leaders understand how the new PLM really makes a difference in their day-to-day workflow. At the same time, we proactively and reactively managed resistance, and we tracked and also recorded adoption. Now that you have successfully implemented the change, it is now time to move on to phase 4, which involves sustaining and reinforcing the PLM implementation. Think of this phase as moving from launch mode to continuous improvement mode. There are 6 things you want to keep in mind. 1, maintain your change network and feedback loops. Keep your champions and key stakeholders active so you can quickly identify what is successful and what needs attention. Continue office hours and user support to ensure you are providing ongoing help and keeping confidence levels high. 3, you also want to continue to measure adoption during the sustain phase. So send out surveys to track awareness, to track usage, and also to track other sentiment trends. And you also want to capture and integrate lessons learned. That way, future rollouts benefit from this experience. You want to reinforce and recognize adoption by celebrating success stories, highlighting top users, and also getting leaders to recognize, to send out emails to everyone, recognizing people that are going far and beyond to adopting the changes. And you want to embed the change into business as usual operations. This includes ensuring that the new PLM procedure and processes are integrated into policies, into job aids, into procedures, into workflows, as well as into performance measures. Now, let us go over our methodology. To bring it all together, what we have covered over the last 20 to 30 minutes is a proven end-to-end change management framework that you can use for your PLM and any software implementation. It is basically what you are looking at here on my screen that includes all of the different activities by phase. And we have also included a 3-month to 12-month timeline. I often get leaders asking me questions about implementing change management for PLM implementation. They normally want to know how long it will take. And the recommendation or the advice that I give them is it normally takes 3 months to 12 months. And it is based on various factors: the scope, the scale, the level of impact, the readiness assessment, the availability of leaders and stakeholders, as well as the overall changes that are impacting the organization. When we do our rounds of assessments, that is when we really identify the level and the severity of change management deliverables that need to be delivered, which would determine if it's going to be a 3-month or a 6-month or a 12-month rollout. Here is something that is very, very important when you are having your own conversation with your leaders and you're showing them this slide. You want to go on to this next slide here. And you want to let the leaders know this. The 3 to 12 months timeline that you just gave them is really change management. It's really the people side of change, which is this bottom swim lane here. The top swim lane that involves what the program team, the project teams, the IT, the engineers, basically the technical side, which involves planning the new PLM, designing what it's going to look like for your organization, developing configurations, testing the new PLM that has been customized for the organization. All of those are not reflected in the 3 to 12 months timeline that you're giving to your leadership. It is very, very important that you emphasize that. All right, so like I said at the beginning of this video, if you need help, if you have any questions, if you need a top change management consultant to support you or support your organization, you can reach out to me, see the link below. Below this video, you will also find the link to the free readiness assessment survey that you can start using today to gather readiness information for your organization. You will also find the link to the detailed step-by-step guide that basically goes over everything that I have covered today and more. And don't forget to like this video, as that lets me know that you have received value from it. You can also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss great content like this one.